Talk about Steph Curry. He's been on a heater, right, over the last 3 games. Take a look at this. It's not just the volume, it's the freaking accuracy, too.
It's the volume, too.
He's averaging 9 three-pointers per game over that span. He's still making over 56% of his looks.
Yeah, that's hard to guard. That's hard to guard.
Thank you for that, Richard.
Yeah, you're welcome.
With Curry continuing to elevate and just this elite play that he's having, it got us thinking, take a look at this. Could the Warriors, I know it's going to sound crazy, but could they make a real run? Yes, we're talking about a title run here. These are the teams who are just outside of the top 10 in odds. That's according to ESPN Bet. So it's a really interesting mix of teams who believe that they really could make a run, including the Warriors. We saw how far the Miami Heat got last year, even as the 8th seed. So, Chiney, who has the long shot chance, the best long shot to win, or to, let's say, make it to the NBA Finals?
Why are you looking at me like that, Richard?
I'm curious as direction we're going to go.
So, technically, between the Warriors and the Sixers, maybe?
Sure. I mean,
if they were able to get Joel Embiid back, I'm going with the Sixers.
Win, though. Because that's my fear with the Sixers is, okay, if you get Joel Embiid back, like, April, and he's kind of still needing to ramp up a little bit. Does that concern you?
Malika, do you know what he was doing the entire season?
That's fair.
He was leading the league
in
scoring. He was the best offense in the entire NBA. That shot right there from the free throw line, one-on-one, that cannot be doubled. Joel Embiid, hopefully he's rested. Hopefully he heals well and soon. If he's back on the floor, this team, that's a big if.
Yeah, that's the if. That's the if I'm talking about, because you're absolutely
This team automatically goes to third in the East. Third in the East. I mean, Milwaukee's looking a little bit better, but, like, getting that team whole with the pieces that they've added, we saw exactly what Buddy Hield was able to do. Like, the pieces are coming together for his health, and I like that for him.
Well, first off, the Warriors' whole roster for the moment is healthy.
Except for Chris Paul.
They don't, right. Their other starters, he's healthy. They're all healthy, and Chris Paul's getting healthy. So I like the team that I know is healthy right now. That's the big thing. So it's got to be the Warriors for me. They're scoring on the interior. They've got Kuminga really going really well. They've developed Podziemski and a lineup they can close with. It doesn't always include Klay Thompson, but what they're doing is working very well. They've been the third best team basically for the last 15 games in the NBA when you look at net rating. And look at their schedule. Their schedule is very favorable. Now, they're in 10th place right now, Malika. I don't think from 9th or 10th you can make a real run. You got to win 2 play-in games. But they may not stay there. They've had the hardest schedule so far. Now it swings easier. Hopefully they get Chris Paul back soon. They've played a ton of very close games, as you know. They've, like 35 of their games have been clutch time games because they haven't been very good and they've been banged up or suspended.
Right.
Well, if they stay together, some of those games that were close that they were losing, they might start winning. So this is what I said weeks ago, and people were saying break this team up, and Steph was saying definition of insanity.
Are you talking to Perk?
I'm
Yes.
saying ride this sucker till the wheels come off, and the wheels are firmly on right now.
If we're talking about outside, we would say the 76ers. Obviously, they were a favorite team. They have the biggest if out of anybody on that list. And if Joel Embiid was healthy, they wouldn't be on that list. So in my opinion, no one on that list has a real chance. There is one caveat, like you said, with the Warriors. They went through the most difficult part of their schedule with the most difficult part of their season, with the injuries, with the suspensions, all of these things, the contract looming. Do we play young guy? They went through all of those things. Now they're healthy, now they're whole, and they have the 3rd easiest schedule in the NBA.
Yep.
So if they play the 3rd best in the NBA, let's just say hypothetically, if they play the 3rd best in the NBA, that can put them, maybe they can get to 6. Maybe they can actually make a run.
I don't know about 6.
I mean, I'm just
top 8. That's what they're looking for. Top 8.
I'm just saying maybe the Warriors. We know that those boys can go on a run. Steph is hot. Klay get going. Weird things can happen, and we've seen it with.
It's just always a question of who falls out, right? Because the Lakers are in 9, Mavs are in 8, Kings are 7, Suns are 6, and then you get to the Pelicans and Nuggets, the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves. None of the top 4 are moving. The Suns, you kind of maybe expect to move up a little bit. Maybe the Kings. It's just, I don't know who's falling out.
And the Mavericks are hot right now.
Right.
The Mavericks have gotten some reinforcements, and they're playing great.
Well, the one thing I will say is that sometimes it's not about who's going to move out. You can outplay. If a team goes 7-3 and you go 10-0 and they get a 10-0 stretch, which they have an easier schedule, and in my opinion, your schedule actually gets easier because teams start sitting guys. Teams start playing for the draft.
Unless they're trying to win these awards.
No, but I'm not. But
they're trying to win some
awards. There's only 3 awards that are going to be given that is going to affect that. That's the only thing.
Okay, so it's the anniversary 2 weeks ago today that LeBron James made his infamous glass tweet And then maybe he knew something, because then 2 days later, his newest teammate, Spencer Dinwiddie, is set to make his debut against the Pistons. Take a listen.
The two situations kind of felt like this, right? Let's say you were a kid and you got your ass whooped by the bully. Dallas would have been like your mama being like, it's okay, baby, don't worry about it. Lakers are like, your dad, nah, you better go out there and fight till you win. You feel me? And I just felt like that was what I needed at the time.
What an analogy. That's Dinwiddie talking about choosing between his hometown Lakers or choosing between the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, the Lakers are sitting at just above 500, the 9th spot in the West. But Brian, is this the team that is under the most pressure that Dinwiddie is joining? Because that was an interesting analogy that he had there.
Yeah, I'm more thinking about the Mavericks. If you're a Mavericks fan, you've gotten a couple of interesting pieces of information in the last couple of days. You've got Spencer Dinwiddie making that weird bully analogy, which I don't quite get, but you do you. Yesterday, Kyle Kuzma told The Athletic that there was a trade in place for him to go to Dallas. I believe for 2 first-round picks, the picks that they ended up trading later on for Gafford and P.J. Washington. And the Wizards gave Kuzma the choice. Do you want to stay here in Washington or do you want to go to Dallas? And he said he wanted to stay, which is remarkable on about 4 fronts. One, I thought that the Wizards had gotten rid of their players with no trade clauses when they traded Bradley Beal. I didn't know Kyle Kuzma had no trade clause, but that's interesting.
It sounds like the Wizards.
2, that Kuzma, and he articulated why. He said, look, I want to compete for an NBA championship. I don't want to compete for a playoff spot, and the Mavericks are on different timelines. That's what he told The Athletic. I thought it was, first off, and Michael Winger, the team president, went on the record saying that they respected Kuzma enough to ask his opinion, which, again, is not something you normally see or talk about on the record. So I know we're supposed to talk about the Lakers, but I'm just wondering, the Mavericks, they did get 2 players, and they've played well since they got those guys.
Right, but
Kuzma they went for Kuzma, he said no. They went for Dinwiddie, he said no. And they've got Luka and Kyrie Irving, and they're playing well. So that's an interesting little sidelight.
My only question, and I do not know this, when is Kuzma's contract up?
He just signed a brand new 4-year contract that goes down in value, which the entire way they structured it was to trade him, which he knew. So that's
But they gave him a no trade.
No.
This is just taking him into
de facto
consideration.
no trade.
Yeah.
Like he said no.
The trade was in place. They had agreed.
I want to apologize to everyone that has been a Washington Wizards fan for the last 10, 12 years. I apologize because that, to me...
More than 10 or 12.
I'm being nice. I don't like telling good people bad things.
Really?
So this is what I'm saying. It's not always about... again, Dinwiddie got traded from Dallas. He had a great postseason, and obviously he was a part of the Kyrie trade. He was a part of that. Brunson left in free agency. So I don't think that this is as much as, like, people don't want to go to Dallas. I've played there. It's an amazing town, great basketball culture. I just think I think Spencer wanted a different opportunity.
It's more of a commentary, I guess, on the Wizards than it is.
Isn't it always? Isn't it always?
I'm not putting any thoughts in Kyle's mouth. He articulated it. It's just surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he made a decision based off of the levels of accountability that he wanted to play the game with. And I think the levels of accountability when you go out there to play are a little bit different when you play in Dallas versus when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis looking over your shoulders.
Yeah.
There's an expectation that even though we may be out of the playoff consideration, we still believe we can win a championship. I think the Mavs still have a little bit more of the prove it. And that's the decision. And you were so classy with this, Wendy, because you didn't even mention the Grant Williams, which I think was completely out of bounds. But
yeah, on there.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. Go where you are celebrated, not tolerated, right? And he's already been traded from Dallas after, playing well. The last thing I would say is with the Lakers, his services are needed.
Yep.
Needed.
Yes.
And so if you're a guy that's going to come and you can be a free agent this summer, which I believe he can be.
Yes.
So his services are needed. They
Back
need
home
shooting.
too.
They needed all the things. Dallas, they got Luka. They got Kyrie. They've got that backcourt scoring at 60 a game, damn near. They need that.
I've just seen Luka when he has got his mind made up about you. He can go at you. So I don't know if that list got a little longer. So we'll just...
If he goes at Spencer, I don't think that's going to impact any game.